sports minister and heads government delegation to Kumasi to commiserate with Kotoko players who were involved in an accident at Kotoko as they returned from Accra. We have an update from the hospital where the head coach, a player and a staff of the club remain in hospital. Right now, though, we can go on the line and speak to Love FM's Nanaya Ojima, who's following the sports minister. Hello, Nanaya.
Yeah, hello, Gift.
Where is the sports minister at this moment?
All right, so we left the residence of the bereaved Eric J. Amankwa not too long. The bereaved Thomas Obeng Asari not too long ago. So the minister is heading back to Accra, and he went there to commiserate with the family of the bereaved. The minister also wants the family to update the ministry and the Nana Akufo-Addo government on whatever happens between now to the late Asari is buried.
Nana, if you can hear me, bring us up to speed on how those who are still in hospital are cooperating. How bad would you say their situation is?
All right, the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital was the first point of call for the minister. Coach Stephen Kulak, driver of the team, Nana Bechi, and forward Ashite Olenu are all under treatment at the Accident and Emergency Center of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. Authorities at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital told the minister that two of the victims, that Stephen Kulak and Nana Bechi, are all being prepared for medical surgery. And they also assured the minister that they will do all possible to make sure that these people are well and, get back to the team. And also, we are learning that Ashite Olenu is traumatized. And we also saw Ashite Olenu, just that he couldn't speak to the minister. And I think he was still in shock. That's what is happening to the three people who are still in the hospital. But the other members of the team have been discharged, and they are expected to return to the hospital on Saturday to be assessed by the doctors.
Surgeries at the beginning. What are those surgeries for?
Hello?
Yes. What are they performing the surgery for?
The medical officers couldn't come clear on that.
Okay.
They said they will update us as they go on with the medical treatment. So we are waiting for the doctors to update us on whatever happens and also what really they are treating them for.
Very well. The whole of Asantuma would will pretty much be be distraught. How is the mood in Kumasi as we speak?
All right. From last night, when the news broke that the team was involved in an accident, the mood in Kumasi has been very solemn. People are down. Today, speaking with some of the supporters of the club at the hospital, most of them tell me they couldn't sleep since last night. But they are fortunate that they lost only one life. So, Mr. Asari was very precious to the team. They are kind of sad, but it's one life, so they can deal with it. So the majority of the supporters are saying that they think their team cannot continue the league because what has happened. Okay. You can see from the faces of the players that they are really traumatized.
Right. Thank you very much, Nanaya Ojima. Indeed, one life is worth grieving over, and it's not okay to still lose if it's even one life. Nanaya Ojima bringing us up to speed from Kumasi on that very sad incident there. Away from that, let's get to the court. And Accra High Court has given the Ghana School of Law the green light to organize its entrance examination slated for the 14th of July. This was after it dismissed an application filed by 11 law graduates seeking to hold the Ghana School of Law's entrance exam slated for that day. The student initiated the action following a Supreme Court landmark judgment describing as unconstitutional the entrance exam and its accompanying interview session organized by the Independent Examination Board of the General Legal Council. The Apex Courts, however, held that it had no intention to interfere with ongoing arrangements for this year's admission. JoyNews' Joseph Akablay was in court and now reports.
It was a day that many look forward to. Apart from the 11 students who have initiated this action themselves, quite a number of graduates of law made it to the courtroom. Lawyers who are already in the practice also made it a point to attend the court hearing to listen closely to proceedings. Justice Anthony Yeboah's courtroom was full with no seat left empty as the arguments for the day commenced. Now, lawyer for the 11 graduates of law, Professor Kweku Ansah, started by arguing against allowing the Independent Examination Board undertake the exam. He insisted the Supreme Court lacked the power to allow an illegality, especially when it has held that the said board does not exist in the first place. He said allowing the exam take place on Friday will mean the students will suffer irreparable damage which cannot be remedied immediately. He said their fundamental human rights were at stake, and since the court had been clear in its mind that the said examination board did not exist in law, it was not necessary for the court to allow the exam to take place. And the lawyer for the General Legal Counsel disagreed. In arguing before the court, he insisted the Supreme Court order was very clear. It directed that the current examination that was supposed to take place was to go on because it did not want to interfere with the ongoing process. He again argued that in terms of balance of probability, the General Legal Counsel, and for that matter, the thousands of students who were preparing to take the exam on Friday, were likely to suffer more than the 11 students who had initiated this action. Delivering his judgment, Justice Anthony Yeboah held that the orders of the Supreme Court given was not in isolation of the context for which that order was given. He insisted that the orders were very clear and was not a case that they held that the exams was unconstitutional unconditionally, but rather it was unconstitutional by taking exception and allowing the present exam slated for Friday, July 14, to take place. For Professor Kweku Ansah, who interestingly is a former director of the Ghana School of Law, he, despite being disappointed, is calling for the GLC to, as a matter of urgency, consider expanding facilities at the Ghana School of Law.
They should expand the facilities, first and foremost, and make sure that the requisite legislative instrument is sought from Parliament. The bone of contention has been the illegality of LI 1296. So once they've been given 6 months to put their house in order, it is hoped that they will do the needful. Yes. Having obtained the LI, I also suggest that they expand the fiscal facility. In fact, this is more governmental action than the law school itself. And then, the larger general public, because government alone cannot show that the responsibility of legal education, and therefore we should all play our useful civic roles in ensuring that the private sector can, fund, the construction of more facilities, lecture halls, classrooms, amphitheaters, hostels for the students, and not just leave it, to government alone, to show that there's response. It is enormous. It is an enormous task they alone cannot.
For the students themselves who initiated this action, they say they are traumatized by the decision and are not certain they may be able to undertake this exam come Friday.
We are actually traumatized as I speak to you now, but we'll put ourselves together. We are now going to meet our lawyers, and then they actually will guide us as to what to do. As to whether we'll take the exam, there are other options. We can decide not to take the exam. That would definitely amount to a boycott. We can decide to go and write the exam because we have applied for it, we pay for it. And so the decision now will be with our legal team and the leadership.
What is clear now is that the exam slated for Friday, July 14, will be taking place. But the bigger question is what measures the General Legal Counsel intends to put in place in the years ahead. Reporting for JoyNews, Joseph Akable, Law Court Complex.
Joseph Akable with that report. Just watching the pulse with me, Gifty and Opia. We'll take a very quick break. We'll be right back.